This is ACSblog, and we're here with Doug Kendall, president of the Constitutional Accountability Center. And I just want to ask you, what is some of the issues behind the big takings clause case that the Supreme Court is going to hear this term? Can you explain to our audience what's important about it?
Sure. Well, it's the first takings case that has been decided by the court since John Roberts and Sam Alito have joined the court. So it's always going to be interesting to see how, and Justice Sotomayor, see how the new justices will address a hot-button issue of constitutional law like the Fifth Amendment's takings clause, which prevents the government from taking property without providing just compensation. And the question in this case and a lot of other cases is whether any property has been in fact taken. No land has been grabbed from these people. There's not an exercise of eminent domain. And in fact, in the facts of this case, we actually think the landowners have received huge benefits, and the burdens imposed upon them are entirely reasonable. The case, just to back up a bit, is Stop the Beach Renourishment versus Florida Department of Environmental Protection. It's a case out of Florida. Florida, like many coastal states, have been battered by sea level rise and by hurricanes in recent years, and they adopted a program under which the state will rebuild your beach and agree to renourish it, keep it to a fixed line. And what happens in that program is that the former line between state property and private property changes from this variable line which goes in and out with the tides to a fixed line that the state will actually agree to keep your beach out to. So it's an enormous benefit for property owners, but they've challenged the change in their property boundary as a taking. They lost that claim through the state court system in Florida. They were challenging it under state law. And then they have appealed it, the Florida Supreme Court ruling, up to the U.S. Supreme Court, saying that the Florida Supreme Court's ruling was a judicial takings, which is a form of takings that has never been recognized before. And so the question is whether that type of claim exists and whether it's been met in this case. It's kind of the Bush v. Gore of takings cases, because the Supreme Court's being asked to review a ruling under Florida law by the Florida Supreme Court and second guess it. And I think there's a kernel of truth in the claim, in the idea that the Supreme Court has the ability to review state court decisions to make sure they're not avoiding or trying to kind of hide a constitutional violation, but that's not what's happening here. Here again, this is a program that gives these landowners an enormous benefit of state-funded renourishment and restoration of their beaches, and it puts entirely reasonable burdens on them, which is why I think this case will end up fizzling, even though some people think it's a big case right now.